Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be exploring Viktor Schauberger, a man who, well, he looked at nature in a way few others ever have.
Oh, yeah.
And our source for this deep dive is the book Hidden Nature.
Okay.
And it goes deep into Schauberger's observations and theories about natural energy and, the power of water.
Yeah. His work it really is fascinating. It kind of challenges us to think outside of, um, conventional science, really,
Right.
and consider, a totally different perspective on how nature works.
For sure. And we'll be unpacking some of his key principles,
Okay.
like implosion, this idea that water has memory, and the role that forests play in everything. I
Hmm.
have a feeling this is going to change how we think about energy in the environment.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
Ready to dive in?
Absolutely. Let's explore Victor Schauberger. It might give us some clues into how we can work with nature more effectively.
So who was this guy? Who was Viktor Schauberger?
Well, he was an Austrian forester
Yeah.
who spent his whole life trying to understand um, nature's energies and processes,
Hmm.
especially those related to water and forests.
Okay.
And what's really amazing is that he just used his intuition and observation. He was really sharp,
Yeah.
and he questioned a lot of the accepted scientific views of his time.
Oh, interesting. So wasn't he fascinated with water? Like he had this thing with trout, right?
He did, yeah. Imagine you're standing by like a rushing mountain stream, watching trout just effortlessly holding their position against the current.
Yeah.
That's what got him. That's what he was so fascinated by. How could these fish just like defy gravity, and all that turbulence?
Yeah, I mean, how do they even stay still like that? What did you think was going on?
Well, he actually did an experiment with some of his colleagues. They poured warm water into the stream, and he saw that when the warmer water got to the trout, they got all agitated and struggled to stay in place.
Hmm.
So he theorized they were taking advantage of the colder, denser water
Oh, okay.
to help them stay put.
So what was he saying the trout were doing to achieve that?
Well, Schauberger thought the trout were they were using this natural phenomenon he called implosion.
Emotion. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
He proposed that the shape of their gills and scales would create a vortex in the water, a swirling inward spiral.
Okay.
And he thought this vortex helped propel the trout upstream.
So it's almost like a spinning top. You know how a spinning top can maintain its balance? Is that what I was getting at?
Yeah, exactly. So he was saying that nature uses this inward motion, implosion, as opposed to the outward force, explosion that we
Yeah.
see in our technology.
Right.
He said nature operates through this centripetal inward spiraling motion, implosion.
Okay.
And he thought that this force concentrates energy, it cools, and it builds up. Our technology, well, it relies on explosion. This centrifugal force that moves outward creates a lot of heat,
Mm-hmm.
and often things break down, they
Yeah.
disintegrate.
Okay.
So he saw this big contrast there.
Yeah. So what are some other examples of implosion in nature? Like what are some things we might recognize?
Well, think about a whirlpool
Mm.
or a tornado, even the shape of galaxies. Those spirals.
Yeah.
Those are all implosion on different scales.
Interesting.
And Schauberger thought, if we could really understand and harness this principle,
Mm.
we could create a much cleaner technology that's more sustainable.
Didn't he actually try to build machines, based on this principle?
He did. He designed what he called over unity machines.
Over unity.
Yeah, and they were supposed to create more energy than they consumed.
What? More energy than they consume. So like were they breaking the laws of physics?
Well, he thought that by tapping into nature's implosive forces, you could achieve like a higher level of efficiency.
Yeah.
Two of his most famous inventions were the trout turbine and the repulsing.
Oh.
The trout turbine, well, it kind of mimicked the motion of a trout in water, right? And the repulsing, it was this device that was supposed to use vortexes for propulsion.
Wow.
But a lot of his detailed plans, his models, they were all lost during World War II.
Oh, that's a bummer. I would love to see those machines in action, today.
Yeah.
But there's another concept that I want to ask about.
Okay.
This idea of water having a memory.
Right.
How did he even come up with that?
Well, this is where Schauberger really gets interesting.
Okay.
He didn't just see water as just some passive substance. He saw it as a living entity
Okay.
with a life force, with energy. And he thought it could actually store information from the substances that it encountered. This is what he called water's memory.
So you're saying, like, water can remember
It
things?
sounds strange.
Sound like something out of science fiction.
It does. It does. But think of it this way. Water molecules have this very unique structure, and it allows them to form um, like weak bonds with other molecules.
Okay.
And Schauberger proposed that these bonds could leave an imprint on the water,
Hmm.
like a subtle imprint that would affect its properties, its energetic properties. And he even thought it might affect its physical qualities.
So are you saying, like, the water from a mountain spring would have a different memory than water from a polluted river?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
He thought that this difference in memory could really impact the health of anything that drank the water.
Hmm.
And he was very critical of, modern water treatment methods.
Oh, really? Why?
Well, he said, they take out the pollutants, right?
Yeah.
But they also take out the natural vitality, the energy. They leave it, kind of dead.
Wow. That makes you think about the water we drink every day, right?
Right.
If he's right, that could really impact our health.
It could.
But let's talk about forests too. He seemed to really revere them.
He did. Schauberger saw forests as these guardians of water and climate.
Yeah.
He knew, he understood how they regulate water cycles and generate rainfall, keep the climate in balance.
Yeah, because trees absorb water and their roots prevent soil erosion.
Right.
And then they release moisture back into the atmosphere.
Exactly. But Schauberger went even deeper than that.
Okay.
He actually described forests as biocondensers. Like they were harmonizing the energies of the earth and the sun.
Okay.
And he said that deforestation would disrupt this balance,
Yeah.
leading to, water shortages, climate change, loss of biodiversity.
Yeah.
It would just mess everything up.
And he was particularly worried about the Amazon, right?
He was. He said the Amazon basin was this powerful heat engine, a rainfall generator that's crucial for, the whole planet's climate.
Mm.
And deforestation was a big threat.
And it still is today.
It is. It was a threat to the balance of, the whole world, he thought.
Yeah, and it seems like his concerns were really spot on.
Mm-hmm.
So did he offer solutions like I don't know, plant more trees or what?
Yeah, planting trees is definitely part of it. But he went further than that.
Okay.
He was advocating for sustainable forestry, agriculture, practices that work with nature.
Okay.
And he even came up with a few inventions. One of them was this really unique pipe design.
Oh, is this the double spiral pipe I've heard about?
That's the one.
Tell me more about that. What is that?
Well, Schauberger noticed that water in nature, it doesn't flow in a straight line.
Right.
It follows this spiraling path.
Yeah.
So he designed a pipe that would mimic that.
Hmm.
It had this double spiral configuration
Okay.
with these special guide vanes to create a vortex inside the pipe.
So he was basically like recreating those whirlpools that he thought that trout were making.
Exactly. He thought that this spiraling motion would keep the water, vital,
Okay.
and it would prevent friction.
Hmm.
So there would be no need for those, harsh treatments that we use. The water would just flow naturally and efficiently.
Wow. So did his pipe design, did it actually work?
Well, there was this experiment done at the Stuttgart Technical University back in 1952.
Okay.
And they actually demonstrated that water could flow without friction in his pipe.
Wow.
And it was an example of what we call biomimicry,
Yeah.
designing technology based on nature.
It's amazing that he was already doing that back in the early 20th century.
It is.
It seems like he was thinking that these principles of implosion, a natural flow,
right.
could be applied to more than just pipes, even to society as a whole.
Yeah, he thought our reliance on, these explosive technologies was creating imbalance and disharmony.
Yeah.
He said we needed to shift towards more implosive, more nature-aligned approaches in every part of our lives.
So he was basically saying we need to just like rethink how we interact with the natural world.
Exactly.
And design our technologies and systems and everything accordingly. That's I mean, that's a pretty radical idea.
It is. It is. And it's something that we'll keep exploring as we go deeper into Schauberger's ideas.
Yeah.
What stands out to you so far? What's got you curious?
There's a lot to think about here.
Yeah.
But I think it's this concept of implosion, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And how it's so different from our current technology. You know, it's making me look at everything in a new light.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What are you thinking about?
You know, I'm really fascinated by this idea of water memory.
Yeah.
I mean, it challenges our whole understanding of water.
Right.
You know, how we treat it, how we consume it.
It's a vital resource.
It is.
Well, I guess let's delve deeper into that. And we'll explore some of Schauberger's, I don't know, more unconventional inventions, after a short break.
Sound good.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of Viktor Schauberger. Before the break, we were talking about that double spiral pipe.
Yeah.
And how it was designed to, like, mimic nature's flow.
Right.
It's pretty amazing how he was using biomimicry way back then. I mean, before the term even existed.
He was ahead of his time, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And, speaking of his inventions, I think it's time we talked more about those
Okay.
those over-unity machines,
Yeah.
the ones that supposedly generated more energy than they used, specifically the trout turbine,
All right.
the repulsine.
Yeah, those were designed to, like, harness the power of implosion, right?
That's right.
I don't even know how that would work, really.
It is a pretty mind-bending concept,
Yeah.
Especially because most of our technology is based on the opposite,
Yeah.
explosion.
Right.
But Schauberger, he really believed that by copying those implosive processes that he saw in nature, we could tap into a cleaner energy source, a more sustainable energy source.
Okay, so how did these machines even work? Like, were they actually defying the laws of physics?
Well, the details are still kind of a mystery. A lot of Schauberger's original plans and prototypes were lost,
Yeah.
destroyed too. But from what we know, they used a combination of things. They used vortexes,
Okay.
spiraling water flow,
Yeah.
temperature
For
gradients
generate energy?
to generate energy. Yeah.
I can kind of picture the trout turbine.
Okay.
I mean, at least in theory, I'm
Yeah.
imagining, like, a turbine shaped like a trout, and it has, like, special gills and scales that that create the swirling vortex in the water, and that moves the turbine.
Yeah, you've got it. That's the basic idea.
Okay.
The shape of that turbine, inspired by the trout, was meant to make a vortex in the water. Yeah. Just like the natural flow patterns Schauberger observed.
So what about the repulsine? That sounds even more, I don't know.
Unconventional.
Yeah, even for Schauberger.
The pulsine was definitely one of his most ambitious inventions.
Okay.
And it's still pretty controversial.
Mm-hmm.
It was this disc-shaped device.
Okay.
And it used suction, it used vortexes and temperature changes
To do what?
to achieve lift and propulsion.
Hold on. Are we talking about a flying saucer here? Was he trying to build a UFO?
Well, not exactly. Think of it more as a demonstration of his theories about levitation,
Okay.
anti-gravity.
So was it actually flying?
That's still debated whether it ever actually flew. But the principles behind it are still pretty fascinating.
So how was it supposed to work? Like, was it like a giant vacuum cleaner sucking itself up into the air?
Well, the concept was to create a really powerful vortex inside the device.
Okay.
And that vortex, along with specific temperature changes, would create what Schauberger called
What did he call it?
he called it a biotechnical vacuum above the device.
Okay.
Now, this wasn't a vacuum in the normal sense.
Right.
It was a low pressure zone.
Created by harnessing these natural forces.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that low pressure zone would pull the repulsine upwards.
So let me get this straight. The spinning disk creates a vortex.
Right.
The vortex creates a low pressure zone above it, and that lifts the device.
You got it. It's a simplified explanation,
Yeah.
but that's the general idea.
And Schauberger thought that nature uses similar principles.
Right. He was trying to copy those with the repulsine.
So did he actually, like, build and test this thing?
There are stories about the repulsine being tested in Germany during World War II.
Oh, wow.
And some people even said they saw it levitate, achieve short flights.
Oh, wow.
But the details are kind of sketchy, and a lot of the evidence was lost during the war.
It's too bad we don't have better documentation of those tests. It'd be pretty cool to know for sure if this thing actually defied gravity.
It's a mystery,
Yeah.
and it's one that people are still trying to figure out today. But even if it never actually flew, the idea behind it
Yeah.
Using natural forces for propulsion, it's still really relevant today.
For sure. It's like he was pointing us towards a whole new kind of technology,
Yeah.
taking inspiration from nature.
Exactly.
But I want to talk about another one of his inventions, something a little more, well, down to earth, I guess you could say. The bioplow.
Yes.
That sounds like something straight out of like a sustainable farming manual, you know?
It does, doesn't it? And it shows how much Schauberger cared about the impact of, modern farming
Mm.
on the soil, on water cycles.
Yeah.
He wanted to create a more natural way of tilling the soil.
So how is this bioplow different from like a regular plow?
Well, instead of those harsh straight lines that you get from a traditional plow.
Right, and those can cause erosion.
Exactly. They disrupt the soil.
Yeah.
The bioplow, it created gently curving furrows, that followed the contours of the land.
Interesting. So why the wavy lines? Was it just like for looks?
Oh, no. It was much more than that.
Okay.
Schauberger, he thought these wavy furrows, they would mimic the natural patterns in nature.
Okay.
And they would help retain water,
Okay.
improve the soil, get air in there,
Yeah.
and encourage microorganisms.
So he was saying we should work with nature, not try to impose like straight lines.
Exactly. Work with nature's rhythms.
Yeah.
And there's another interesting thing about the bioplow.
Okay. What's that?
It was made of copper.
Copper, not steel.
Not steel, copper.
Copper's not something you usually see on farm equipment.
No, not really.
So why copper?
Well, Schauberger was very aware of the energy of materials. He thought that copper, with its electrical conductivity,
Yeah.
it could actually boost the soil's fertility.
Really?
And he noticed that copper tools didn't rust as much as iron ones.
Okay, it seems like, I don't know, every little detail of his inventions had a purpose.
Again.
He was always trying to be in harmony with nature.
That's right.
So, did he have any like special instructions for how to use this bioplow?
He did, yeah. He said it was important to plow at certain times of the year
Okay.
and to align the furrows with the Earth's magnetic field.
Huh.
And he even said you should sing or chant while you're working the land.
Sing to the soil. Really? Was he being serious?
Oh, he was totally serious. Schauberger, he believed in the power of intention,
Okay.
the idea that everything is connected.
Mhm.
He saw plowing not just as some, mechanical process, but as this sacred ritual,
Wow.
a way to communicate with the earth.
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. It fits with his whole philosophy.
Right.
Everything was about I don't know, respecting nature.
Mm-hmm.
So this brings us back to his views on energy. He was really critical of those explosive technologies, wasn't he?
He was. He saw them as destructive, ultimately unsustainable. He thought implosion was the key.
To a cleaner, more abundant source of energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But did he ever come up with a way to actually harness that on a large scale? It's like something that could power, I don't know, our homes, our cities?
Well, he developed a lot of prototypes and models,
Mm-hmm.
but he never really came up with a commercially viable, implosion-based generator.
So was it all just like a fantasy?
Not necessarily. The technology might not have been there during his lifetime.
Yeah.
But his ideas, they're still inspiring people today. People who are trying to find new ways to harness nature's power.
So what are some examples of that? How are people using his ideas today?
Well, for one, there are companies designing water systems based on his vortex technology.
Okay.
They want to mimic the natural flow of water,
Okay.
increase oxygen, improve the structure of the water, its energetic properties.
So it's like bringing that mountain stream water
Right.
into our homes.
Exactly.
What about agriculture? Are farmers using his bioplow?
Bioplow itself, maybe not widely,
Okay.
but there are a lot of permaculture folks
Yeah.
and biodynamic farmers who are using his principles.
Okay.
Soil health, natural water management.
So they're working with the land, not against it.
Exactly. They're focused on those natural patterns.
That's great.
It seems like his legacy is still alive and well.
It is. It is. And it's amazing that he was thinking about all this, decades ago.
It is. And I think, one of the big takeaways here is that it wasn't just about the inventions themselves. It was about a change in perspective,
Yeah.
recognizing that nature holds the key to a better future.
I agree. So much of what he talked about, it's relevant to what we're seeing today.
Yeah.
Climate change, water scarcity.
Hmm.
We need to find more sustainable solutions.
We do.
It's like he knew what was coming.
He did. He did. And as we move into the last part of our deep dive,
Okay.
where we'll explore his views on society
Yeah.
and his vision for a better future,
Hmm.
I want you to think about this. What if Schauberger's ideas
Yeah.
hold the key to solving some of our biggest environmental problems?
Hmm.
What if his way of looking at nature could show us a better path?
That's a big question.
Yeah,
It is, and I think it's one worth exploring.
I think so too.
So let's take a short pause to gather our thoughts,
Ah.
and then we'll delve into the final chapter of Schauberger's story
Sounds good.
and the implications of his work for the world today.
Welcome back. It's been quite a journey so far, exploring Viktor Schauberger's ideas.
Yeah, it has about nature's technology, from implosion to water memory and the importance of forests.
Exactly.
And now, well, we're going to get into Schauberger's perspective on society, as a whole, because he wasn't just, an inventor or an observer of nature.
Yeah.
He was a thinker.
Yeah, he really was.
He saw the big picture.
She saw how everything was connected.
Yeah, he was definitely a visionary.
He was.
And he was pretty critical of our modern, industrial society. He thought our technology often clashed with nature.
He did. He said our reliance on what he called explosive technologies was the root of a lot of problems,
Yeah.
especially environmental problems.
So what did he mean by that? Explosive technologies.
Well, he was talking about technologies that generate a lot of heat,
Okay.
create waste,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately he thought they worked against nature.
So it sounds like he wasn't afraid to challenge, the way things were done.
No, not at all.
Did he offer any alternatives? How did he think society should function?
Well, he didn't lay out like a detailed plan or anything.
Okay.
But his writings, his teachings,
Yeah.
they offer this critique of our systems
Mhm.
and a vision for something better, something more aligned with nature.
Okay, so where did he think we should start?
Uh,
If we wanted to move towards a more nature-aligned society.
Well, he believed that education needed a major overhaul.
Education, okay.
Yeah, he thought it was too focused on, memorization and specialization.
Okay.
And it neglected things like critical thinking,
Right.
creativity, a connection to nature.
Yeah, that makes sense. If we're going to create a sustainable world, we need people who understand nature
Right.
and respect it.
Exactly.
So we need to nurture that in the younger generations.
Yeah, he thought we should be encouraging kids to observe, to experiment, to really connect with nature firsthand.
Yeah.
He saw nature as the best teacher,
Right.
offering lessons you couldn't get from a textbook.
So less time in the classroom, more time in the forest.
That was definitely part of it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just for kids. He felt that everyone,
Yeah.
no matter how old you are, what you do for work,
Yeah.
everyone needs to reconnect with nature
For their own well-being.
for their well-being and for the well-being of the planet.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thought. He was saying that nature isn't separate from us.
Mhm.
It's a part of who we are.
Yeah, and he believed that by aligning ourselves with nature,
Yeah.
we could create a better way of life.
Okay, so reimagining education,
Right.
reconnecting with nature.
Hmm.
Those are two key pieces.
What else?
Yeah, what else did he advocate for?
He also thought we needed to shift away from our obsession with material things.
Material possessions.
Yeah, and embrace a different way of looking at life, a more qualitative approach.
So you mean less focus on stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, less focus on economic growth.
Because he thought that was hurting the planet.
He did. He thought it was leading to a lot of problems, social and environmental.
So it's not just about changing our technology. It's
Right.
about changing our values,
Our values, yeah.
our priorities, how we define success.
Exactly. Schauberger, he thought we needed to redefine what it meant to be prosperous, to focus more on things like well-being,
Yeah.
community, ecological harmony.
Those are values that I think a lot of people are striving for today.
Yeah,
But it's a big shift from where we are now.
it is.
Did he think this was something that could happen overnight?
No, he was a realist.
Okay.
He knew that real change takes time.
Yeah.
He said the key was to start small Focus on practical things.
Solutions.
Yeah, solutions, innovations that showed the benefits of working with nature.
So like those inventions we talked about,
Right.
like the implosion machines, the bioplow,
Yeah.
the water systems.
Those are all steps in the right direction.
He saw those as like a new way of
A
thinking,
new paradigm, yeah.
showing that a different path was possible.
Exactly.
That he was planting the seeds for a future where technology and nature could coexist.
That's a powerful vision.
It is, it is. But did he really believe that everyone would embrace this vision, or was he more, I don't know, cynical about human nature?
Schauberger was a complicated guy.
Okay.
He had both hope and skepticism, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He knew that humans could be destructive,
Mm-hmm.
but he also believed in our ability to change,
To adapt.
to innovate.
I think that's what makes his work so interesting.
Yeah.
It's this balance of realism and optimism. It's not just a fantasy or a doomsday prophecy. It's
Right.
like it's a call to action.
It is.
A reminder that we have choices.
We do.
That's a good way to put it.
And I think that's the most important takeaway from all of this.
Yeah. His work wasn't just about inventions.
Mhm.
It was about reminding us that we're connected to nature
Mm-hmm.
and inspiring us to create a future where we can all thrive together.
Well said. Well, it's been amazing exploring Schauberger's world.
It has.
It's really made me think about, how we interact with nature.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you feel the same way.
I do.
It's a powerful reminder that we have so much to learn from nature.
Yeah, we do.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
We hope it's sparked your curiosity
Mm.
and maybe inspired you to look at the world around you
Yeah.
with fresh eyes.
A new perspective.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
And remember the wisdom that nature has to offer.
It's all around us.